that they talk about the gender discrimination. It is very important for the curricula to support all the genders so that they can excel in the right manner. Then somebody said that we need to delegate responsibility. How can a child be responsible and decision maker when you have not embedded it right from the beginning? Now I will share an example. My papa was at my place from USA, and she said I was going out for shopping. My daughter was, I think, in grade 2 and 3, and I just selected the dress for her, and she stopped me and she said to me, Aruj, you're not doing right. And I was taken aback as a mother. I said, what did I do wrong? And she said that you're not letting the child decide. That what is your budget, whether it's a winter stuff or summer stuff, but put 4 or 5 frocks out of the rack which are in your budget limit, and let the child decide, because she's going to wear that dress. And that made me realize that I am taking that decision power away from her. So I mean, like, those small things. We are talking about entrepreneurship and other journeys. Even at the very primary level, we do not give that decision making to our children. And experimenting, being closer to the nature, observing, and then making mistakes. All the points that all the beautiful speakers have added, I think they should be an integral part of the curriculum, and I leave this discussion for the other speakers to add in. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Mirza Bhai, I'm coming to you in a minute. Just to reset the room, we are holding this space which is discussing on the topic of how to train our kids to become an entrepreneur under the Club of Jumpstart Pakistan, and we are exploring the possibility that what are the best ways, and some of the people on the stage have actually discussed they have over the time have experienced. One thing I would just say, some housekeeping. Now we are going popcorn style, so the people on the stage is going to be posing questions to the panel, the moderators, who are going to be answering it as short as possible, but anybody actually can come in and popcorn in. But at the same time, what I would say is just make sure, a request to all the moderators not to bring anybody on stage unless they have their picture uploaded and also have some profile. So we won't be able to actually bring you on the stage unless you have your profile updated and your picture. So please do not bring anybody on the stage unless their picture and profile is updated, and preferably social is also connected with their profile. Over to you, Mirza Bhai.
Piggybacking Aruj's points, they were amazing. See, like, we all are born here. Even as an entrepreneur, no matter how big your company size is, $1 million, $10 million, $100 million, $1 billion, we all have something called unique ability. Natural born, God-gifted talent. That is natural to us. Like Aruj was saying, she doesn't want to take away the power of decision from her own child. That comes very generically, right? So we are all born with two things. One is our natural born talent. Now I know my strengths at this point and age and time, which is like, I can write poetry, I can solve problems, multiple different things. I'm a good communicator, I'm a good salesperson, bringing projects on the table, marketing, all those things. It's come natural to me. That is, and your child is no different. He has a natural born talent. You need to identify them. Identified, and like Zanbai was saying, create a conducive environment for them to flourish and grow, right? And this another thing that is called skill. Skill pays the bill. When you talent is something that cannot be taught. It's just like something within. Skill can be taught and it can be passed on, right? Skills and capabilities and expertise and potential and capabilities are the ones that we keep on sharpening and nurturing over the period of time. So we must, as an entrepreneur, as a forward-thinking visionary entrepreneurs, or as parents, we need to find out what is the natural born tendency, rujhan, and talent of our kids. And once you identify that, even if your kid doesn't know, because I never knew very early on. I was like 7 years old kid. I was like going to Darya Jehlam and I was getting like chikni mitti clay. Used to make like kukukodas, like little animals, and I used to burn them up and used to sell them. I never knew that I'm going to have these skills. I was 7 years old, going to my nani's house, Janab, and then I did like multiple different things. But later on, I found that was very natural to me. And I used to be like kids' election. I was the first one. There's a speech going on. I wasn't able to even reach to the dice, but they used to put something, and I would recite the thing that pen is mitre, and then the sword and everything. So I realized that that's my natural talent. So once you find that thing naturally, just like Kurumbai has two twins, same exact DNA, two of them have different tendency, different natural born talent, and then skill is something additional on top of it. Skills and capabilities and expertise. We must identify the natural born talent and tendency that what my board orders are entirely 180 degrees different. Amna wants to do like deliver something to the world and all these things. Aisha is so natural. She buys a popsicle for 25 cents and she's selling other people like for $4. I was like, come on, Aisha, this is such a, you're like ripping people off. And she's like 6 years old. And it's very natural. When she speaks, nobody can stop her. But I have he is laughing, blinking. She knows both of my daughters. So I know like what is the strength and what is the weakness of that is the natural born talent, and skill are on the top of it. Skill is something you turn that information into knowledge, and you do it so many times, and that becomes skill, and skill pays the bill, and that defines you. So those are two distinction things. I would ask all those parents, find your child's natural born tendency, talent, tell them and let them work on it. It goes back to Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee says that I am scared of that one person who has mastered one kick, one technique, thousands of time than like other techniques that he's making, because he's super good at it. So that is something, like as an entrepreneur, you also need to find your unique ability as an entrepreneur. Even if you're running an empire, do whatever you can do the best and outsource the rest. Those were my few humble cents, and they start very early on. If you identify those things in your kids, just like how Elon Musk did, trust me, you can reshape the trajectory of this world and mankind. And entrepreneurship is the most sustainable way that would change the growth trajectory and economy of Pakistan and across the globe. Thank you, Harambai, for allowing me to speak. Just wanted to point out.
Thank you, Mirza Bhai. That was great insight, and that's why we created this space to actually discuss all those points. We have many people who are on stage who would like to ask a certain question, I think. But before, one last question to you, Zain Bhai. If I ask you what sort of percentage you would put it in terms of actually telling the kids or becoming an example for them, which would you allocate to mother or father? So how much of a role mother has, and what are those specific qualities that mother should work on, and what sort of qualities or the actual maneuverability father should work at on their kids?
I think that's not a good question, because that's really a discriminating question. So I disagree with the question itself. I think both parents play equal roles. Mothers usually have more time on hands, because in most cases in today's civilization, the men are outside, right? So they're not at home all the time. So I'm never at home. So the nurture, the nourishment, women have a much harder job than men do. We just go outside, do a little bullshit, come back home, and then we go to sleep. Women work 24 hours, at least in the current society as it's changing. So it's not a proper question in that question. And Khurram, I have immense respect for you, you know that. And with love and dear, we must narrate our questions. We say, who would bring more value? I think entrepreneurship a little bit, because genetically men are more rigorously tuned in today's civilization to go outside and learn. I'll tell you the other thing that Mirza Bhai pointed out so well. My daughter, for example, Zainab, when she was in her teens, even though she came to the company at the age of 13, 14 to, sit in the office and help me out with paperwork and mail and different things, yet her eyes and focus was towards journalism. I never stopped that. I let her do that. And she went and she wrote at the American Foreign Policy Affairs, by the way, which is a 150-year-old organization, the biggest blog. Of the 12 bloggers, I think 9 of them are Jewish. There are no Muslim. Zainab was the only one who was a Muslim writing on it till she wrote till she was 16 or 17. And then she quit and became more entrepreneurship. But I never stopped her. I let her do whatever she wants to. So let them fly. Because if she now runs, one of the largest Silicon Valley U.S.'s largest medical insurance company for group benefits across the country, and she's still only 36 years old. That's because I allowed her to do it. So do that. One thing I do also want to bring in with somebody else, and I don't know if I'll have time because I'm maybe heading to the airport in about an hour. I want to add is curriculum. Somebody was talking about it, was Aruj, or somebody else was talking about curriculum. We're hiring people in Pakistan. The curriculum we're creating 2 syllabus first on code and ethics, honesty, integrity, and why honest work will pay you more rewards than quick shortcuts. I think if we can entrench that in our children, and the way we do it is when your daughter or your son move towards the oven, the flame of the fire, don't say, "Beta, beta, kya karo? Jahan jal jayega." Instead of saying, "Beta, ye garam hai. Try nahi karna, shayad aaj jal jayega," and then go forth and move your hand back. Say, "Mujhe to garam lag raha hai." Test it out and let us slowly go towards it till the heat and sensation keeps away. Her body will train that way. For example, my 6-year-old who's here with me in Legoland is because a year and a half ago at 4.5, he built the excavator, which is 3,200 pieces of Lego, and he did it all by himself. When he was 2-3 years old, I should just let play with him because I love Lego. And he used to play with Lego, and I should just observe and tell him, try the red piece, try the red piece, try the white piece. To build a 3,200 piece Lego, which is for 18 years plus, to do it in 4.5 years, he's not a genius. I'm not going to call him a genius. He's just an ordinary man. He's just been trained well. That's what Rich was talking about. This is Zain, and I'm complete.
Then, that's great insight. I have a habit of actually put forward provoking questions, and that's what the best thing comes out, literally. So that was intentional, by the way.
Khurram Sahab, I will add after Fahad, I think. Okay, I just wanted to elaborate, or I don't want to elaborate. I had more curiosity about Zain and Khurram's conversation just recently happened. Is there after Fahad, or I'll add some point now?
1 second, Adibhai, just quickly let me reset the room. So we're going to be going a popcorn style now, so everybody can actually get the opportunity to ask the questions. Some of those questions are going to be difficult one. I totally understand that. So that's what we are trying to achieve from this conversation, that people will be able to get the best out of them and their experiences and everything. So we are having this discussion, how to train our kids to become an entrepreneur under Jumpstart Club. Please do click on that green house so you'll be able to get the notification whenever we have this conversation going on. And also please follow the moderators. Zain Bhai has to go away because I totally understand over this weekend he's spending with his
I'll be here, but I wanted to bring one more thing. I have to add.
Yes,
because I'm a Bahari Gujarati and we network among ourselves. The Jews do it, the Vietnamese do it, the Boris do it, the Memans do it. I'm very unfortunate that Sunnis deliberately do not network. So let me tell you what you need to do, what Khurram just said. If you are not friends and following the people around you, it's a disgrace to you. It's a disgrace. Please follow the people around you. It doesn't matter if he's rich or poor, male or female. Follow them. Because you can't network. You can't be an entrepreneur if you're not outward. So please follow them. And please follow the people right at the bottom. I've been following everybody till they lock me out. I think I'm almost locked out. I'll still follow. I follow everybody. I don't care who it is. Follow people. Give them the chance. Grow them. Please network. And Khurram bhai, it's embarrassing that you have to ask them to hit on the house. It's natural hona chahiye. This should be natural for every Pakistani to click on that and follow that. आप किस किस पाकिस्तानी अगर अपने लोगों को सपोर्ट नहीं करते हो, please everybody follow their friends, their powerhouses here. This is Zain. I'm complete. I'm sorry I took that time. I apologize.
No, Zain Bhai, come on. You are such a blessing in this room. So, so much I have to learn from there. And your passion and the go-giving attitude is just unparalleled. I don't think we ever will be able to actually get there. We're just following your example of that go-giving mentality and attitude. And I think that's what lifts us up. So everybody has to follow that. Ali Bhai, you wanted to... Yes.
I was going to say that. Yeah, so I was going to say the same thing. Ali had something to add. Ali, please go ahead.
Ji Rana sir, thank you. Well, it's very Zain sahab, mashallah, like always enlighten us always, and there's every time a chance to learn from Zain. Just curiosity, the conversation when Huram has provoked, let's say, with a question to everyone, asking about mom or father has who has more opportunity, and Zain sahab has right away rejected that question due to discrimination. I just wanted to take a pass and ask question to myself and both of you, Zain and Huram also. Don't you think that there are a lot of other variables which we don't want to fool our children also, that they do exist? For example, a daughter who is growing up in Mandi Bahauddin, let's say, or Gujarat, let's say Mandi Bahauddin, and her father, just like Zain, explains that to her daughter, come on daughter, don't forget that there is nothing such thing the community the discrimination, and you can go to the Karyana store at your father's wholesale shop and start acting like a daughter who's acting in Chicago downtown. I think we need to keep the, because most of our business and entrepreneurs has to also understand most of their successes which they think it's their success, usually it's not their success, it's the reaction of the atmosphere and opportunities the atmosphere proves that. So I just wanted to be more because we're talking about parents and we're talking about influencing children or creating examples for children. So I because usually we all end up, but we have to see like to, where is this children
Thank you, Chatia, for the question, and thank you, Aruj, for that. Next, we have Wakar. Wakar wants you to say something, and then Fazil.
Hi, thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I am Wakar Alisha. I run an AI company in England, and I also have two teenagers as children. And the eldest is a daughter. She's 16 years old, and she wants to be a singer when she grows up. And my son wants to be a footballer. Now, that is in stark contrast to what I do as a data scientist. And I often wonder, obviously they may be inspired by the glamour they see in the world of music or in the world of football. And perhaps something like data science or AI may seem a bit boring or a bit dry when compared to these media friendly professions that we often hear about in on TV and everything. So I always think to myself, how can I get them to be more innovative and think more along business lines or along strategic lines where the world is going, and how they can build themselves to be a part of the business fabric and the technological fabric that is emerging in the coming decades. And I think that there's no easy answer to this, but it is very important to get children experimenting at an early age with taking small steps, like maybe helping them apply principles of data science to, for example, football scores, and helping them predict what the next few games would look like, using data science and AI. Trying to build technology that's relevant to what they're interested in. Trying to get them to see the relevance of technology in their lives and how they can grow along with the technology that's going to change everything around us. And I think that it's just it's going to be hard at first, but we have to keep trying to open up their minds. Even a small crack, if we can forge a small crack in their minds, it will open up, to see the light in the years to come. And we have to keep, forging these small cracks in the infantile mind or in the child's mind, so that it can open up to take in, you know, um, take in the important aspects of the world that's changing around us. It's not easy to see the change. For a child, it's very difficult to see the rapid change and progress that's happening in the world around us. To them, life may seem, all fun and games. Their favorite music stars, their favorite, sports stars doing wonderful things, as it seems to them. People a while ago used to think that WWE wrestling was all, it was all legitimate and natural. However, as we grew up, we learned that it was actually all staged. So all these nuances of the world will dawn upon them in time. But if you can help that process come earlier to them, if you can help them forge this understanding of how the world operates, how things are interconnected, how different components and organizations of the world work together to make what is happening, and then how that whole reality is changing, in leaps and bounds into the future. If you can help them develop an understanding of that evolution as it happens, I think that is the most important thing, and they will then learn to find their place in that evolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Wakar, for that experience. That was a great insight. Now we have Fozia, and then you have Patel after that.
Assalamu alaikum. Really great conversation and discussion today. I learned a lot in terms of some of the points that, and my question comes to these points. So basically, like supporting pursuits, letting them fly, teaching them financial literacy, and
So you added a lot of thousands and added zeros.
Mashallah. So see, yeah, see, like because
थोड़ा control करें
Huram
मिर्जा
is
साहब.
already in the trenches, you know. So the kids see what they
Just
see others see other kids doing, you know. So this is the answer to what Fozia is saying. This is the answer to Wakar. We can only teach them so much, but once they see other kids doing, that would eliminate the entrepreneurial candle inside them. Oh, okay, if he can do it, I can do it, and that's also a support system. I mean, you are an average of 5 people that you hang around with. You hang around with fit people. You're the chances are you're the sixth one. In the same way, the same formula works with you kids. I purposefully make sure that who my daughter is hanging around with, she has to hang around with the topper in the class, and I tell her that, hey, listen, ethically try to outrank, outsmart your friend. And I mean, I hope I make sense here. I appreciate it.
No, no, definitely, Mirza Bhai, you made a lot of sense, and that applies to not even kids, but adults too. We are the average of the people we hang around for sure. Wonderful. Thank you so much for putting a very cohesive, you know, train of thought. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you, Mirza Bhai. I would just share before we actually go, we are joined by Reham also. So she's been working for many children in Pakistan also, and she has very few grown-ups. She raised them in a much amazing way, and she would have a lot to contribute, I think. We are going in a certain order. This is a popcorn style. Anybody can actually come in and start speaking and pose their question. But I'm going in a certain order that who wants to go first. So Vishesh is the one, and then after that Zahid. But before we do that, just wanted to make sure that the audience fully understand the rules of the game. So make sure your profile picture is uploaded, and also you have some profile written down. So a couple of lines. Unless you do that, I won't be able to actually bring you on the stage. So make sure before you raise your hand, you have that information available on the profile. Secondly, do subscribe to the actual club itself, Jumpstart Pakistan, so you will know that what are the topics has been discussed and you get the notification. Today we are discussing how to train our kids to become an entrepreneur. Now, training aspect of it has a lot been discussed for the last couple of hours, that what are the best ways in order to give them that foundation which would be available to them when they grow older, and then build a multi-story building on that foundation. So let me share one story, my personal story. So this is when I started taking interest on this particular topic, that kids can be trained in order to make sure that they actually do well in their lives. The story started from this point that one day my son actually turned up. He was 12, I think 11 or 12 at that time. That was iPhone 4 era, so literally iPhone was just like literally coming into the market. And at that time, he didn't have the phone. So one day he actually came back from school and he asked me, Abu, can you actually order this screen for me from Amazon, because he didn't have any money at that point in time and didn't have the account, he didn't have the credit card or anything. So he said, please order this screen. I said, you don't have a phone, why you need that screen? He said, I just want it. So anyhow, I ordered that. That was 11, I think $10.89 or something. And then it came in the mail. He picked out from the actual mailbox that thing, and then 3 days afterwards, he gave me back those $11. And I was wondering why, what this story is all about. So I said to him, like, forget about the $11. Tell me what's this story? What you're trying to do? He said, well, a friend of mine in my school, in my class, he had the phone. His phone screen got broken, so I told him I'm going to actually fix your screen in $35. In the market, if you go and try to actually change the screen, it will cost you $70. So he actually offered him that I'll do that in half price. So I did that, and he gave me even $5 extra. So it costed him about $40, and I fixed it. And here you go. Here's your $11. And I was like, wow. You can imagine whatever the feelings was at that time for me. I said, here you go, you keep that $11. I'm going to give you another $100 if you can actually multiply that by 2, and then I'll give you another $100. So that's how the journey started, and now they are making not thousands upon thousands, but some money at least. So one of the second son actually did the transaction just like a week ago. He actually bought a PC for $300 and he sold it for $850. And I was like, you are ripping people off. He said, that was the worth it. He wanted to get rid of
just one amazing thing that he wanted to just, distribute the risk. So right now he's doing a deal which is roughly going to cost him about $4,500, which is to pick up this pallet of gaming headphones. And he didn't want to, although he has the money and everything, but he wanted to distribute the risk that what if I won't be able to sell those number of headphones. So he went to his friend. His friend said, okay, fine, I'll come into this deal with you and I'll put in half the money, and they're both going to be selling it. So there are a lot of stories I could actually share, but there are a lot of people on the stage at this point in time, so I want to hear them, what they have to say. I think the next one, what I said was that Patel. Was it Patel? Vishesh. Vishesh, go ahead if you have any question.
Yeah, yeah. Hi guys, good evening. I think I don't have question, but I just want to share something from my experience till now. So can I?
Vishesh, Reham actually moved away. She hasn't spoken yet, so right after her, I'll come to you. Reham, you can go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
We'll take Vishesh's question or story. That's fine. I can wait.
Sure, Vishesh, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, guys, let me introduce myself. So I am Vishesh. I'm from India. I'm just 19 years old, CSE student by education, and by profession wise, I am an entrepreneur as well as a networker, doing some international businesses as well as building a student community named the Studenthood. So this is a small introduction of me, and let's talk about the topic. But actually, guys, I'm just 19, so I don't have much knowledge how to train our kids. But what are the best privileges I get from my parents? I just want to share some of these. So the best thing actually I think I would like to actually convey for you all that let them take a decision, because in our Indian community the biggest challenges people are making their children comfortably by giving them the privilege that don't fear, don't tension mat lo main hu. This is the words that actually our parents give. But what is the best thing I think actually that give them the privilege to take the decision. Let them bear the failure, because failure actually builds a good level of confidence a person can take. Secondly, accountability. If a person is taking decision, he or she is completely accountable for the particular thing. Like I have started my own entrepreneurial journey at the age of 16 years. I'm totally accountable for that particular thing. So now it's completely my responsibility whether I win, whether I fail. That's completely my ownership of that particular thing. Then the most important thing as a student I learned, that is leadership quality. You need to raise your value, you need to build your own brand, and you need to be develop yourself apart from the society. You suppose right now there are many people in this club, and if you are sitting in that audience, that you need to raise yourself, na? Because there are many wishes in all over the world, but what I am unique in myself, that is the way I actually build myself. That is the biggest thing I can learn as a 19 years old kid. And actually entrepreneurship is really fancy nowadays, and so the best skill anyone can develop in this, that start solving problems from their minimum age. Let them go and solve as many problems as they can, because entrepreneurship is more about solving and providing the best solution to the society. That is the biggest thing I learned, that my parents actually gave me privilege from the lowest age, that go and solve the problems. I started solving the problem in my society, in my surrounding, in my relatives, in my family, and I learned all these techniques, all these skills. That is the bestest thing I ever learned in my life, and I'm just exploring myself, experimenting my thing myself, and last from I think 15 to 20 minutes I'm listening over this particular room, and I learned a lot of things. So thank you so much, guys. And in last, I just want to ask one important question. Can I?
Yes, Vishesh, great contribution. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I just want to ask one question, that if having money as a first priority, is it good? And if it is, then how long it will it we can proceed to having money as a first priority?
That's also a great question. Zanbhai wants
Can
to
I
go
answer?
ahead.
Yeah, I'll give
Zanbhai,
you.
you, and then Reham.
So I'll tell you, very amazing question. So I've always said, chase the finish
example is, if we compare our parents versus our children, so our children might be, single digit, double digit, whichever digit, and then our parents will be like, let's say, and we might be like 25, 30 years older to our children, and so a similar thing for our parents. So I think to develop a habit, to develop that personality, I'll say rather, overall personality, we have to really start very, very young. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and she has picked up pretty much all the sentences that we have been speaking for the last 2 years. So you see how important are those 2 years when, from the time she was born to now, and she has picked up those sentences, maybe not in the full 2 years, but last 1 year or so. So I believe, and we are actually working towards it. And what we are doing is we are trying to give small children global exposure, so they can be taught by teachers from different countries on different days, so that they all as a human being they can respect different cultures, and that's very important for an entrepreneur to, to respect all cultures, and like treat people with respect, and because they have to do sales, they have to talk to a lot of clients with varied background, and it depending on B2B, B2C, whatever, that go through those rejection, objection, negotiation, people management, etc. So yeah, that's my 2 cents for now. That we have to really start young, like probably 3-4 years. We have to give them some tasks that trigger entrepreneurship mindset, cross cultural mindset, etc.
Thank you, Vishal. That's a great point, but that was not the question, or the answer to my question. My question was, how can we not delimit our kids to just to ourselves, right? Because everybody has said, Reham was saying this, that her kids follow her. She wakes up early and starts working first before eating, and the kids do the same thing. But my point is that if this is what is apparently, then isn't delimiting factor, and how we can remove this factor?
No, actually, what I'll add to this is it's not just parents, it's the whole surrounding that people follow. Otherwise, why do you see a generation gap?
Rana Sahab, if I may answer.
I'm done.
Sure, sure.